is that, what did they,
I'm not sure what it is. I think still came to talk. That's something.
we're meeting with their new chief, tomorrow.
Who's the new chief again?
Seneca?
Seneca.
Yeah, USA and Finland play tonight. Finland nations league.
Yeah.
Did you see the clip now? When you being announced? Told John I had tears. They're chanting his name. It was great.
Yeah. I guess Canada won.
Yeah, they won in overtime. I watched the first two periods, and Canada was up 3-1. And then Sweden scored 2 goals in the third, I guess. I didn't see how late but then in overtime, Canada scored. And they're playing. It's the same overtime as the NHL. Same overtime as the NHL. I still can't believe this. All I asked for was some glue. And look, it's there.
16-penny nail.
It's probably like 3 inches.
It's coming out in front.
The spike. Never used this rug. Hulk Hogan, Iron Man, Hulk Hogan.
I'd like to call to order the Township of North Huntington Board of Commissioners work session meeting for Thursday, February 13th at 7 p.m. Roll call, Manager Falk.
Commissioner Heppel.
Here.
Commissioner Hagan.
Here.
Commissioner Gray.
Here.
Commissioner Zona. Commissioner Bevins. Commissioner Goss. President Atwood.
Here. I ask if you're able to please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ask if any resident would like to speak. Sign the book at the podium. We're going to acknowledge that prior to the meeting tonight at 6 p.m., the board had an executive session to discuss legal and real estate matters. Our first resident is Greg Rogers. I ask you to come and state your name and address for the record, please.
Just here to discuss the lease on this. I know I was here a couple of meetings ago, and I just asked if privileged to see the lease again, privileged to see the words actually used. A couple other issues that I wanted to bring up. In the past, I've owned several businesses and executed leases for business purpose.
Thank you. I've never experienced a lease that did not require the leasee to divulge in writing the scope of business and the business plan before you were considered for the lease. I find it genuinely concerning that in the past, the athletic complex developers stated they will not obligate their financial resources to divulge their business plans in writing before the townships and the citizens relinquish control of the property. I would hope this would change. I would hope a new lease would give the township control to reject maybe some of the following items: time of the lease, subdividing parcels, and including property taxes to be borne by the developers in the no abatement clause. I want to bring up some key points about a land lease percentage to value ratio. Typical range can vary, but it is usually 5 to 10% of the land value annually in commercial real estate leases. Longer-term leases generally result in higher land lease percentages. Commercial property is leased higher at a percentage than residential. So the 10% plus, I would feel would be more typical in this case. During this lease process, it was exposed unforeseen environmental issues, creating financial risks to be borne by the township. I think it would be irresponsible to enter into a lease with this type of language, with the leasee planning construction of this property. Maybe have the leasees share some of the responsibility. If the township feels strongly about using this property for a community center, YMCA, athletic complex, the township should move away from exclusive rights program where we're only dealing with one person, and seek a real estate specialist helping our township solicitors dictate the terms of the purchase or land lease that would address the citizens' concerns and bring benefits to the community. In closing, athletes in our community represent a very small percentage. I would just hope we have bigger visions for this property for our community. And thank you for your time.
Our next resident is Amy G. I ask you come and state your full name and address for the record, please.
My name is Amy Gushin. I live at 11575 Down Circle. Regarding the lease, we just really would ask for transparency, that we can see the lease before you send it to the developers, and take into consideration your public works workers. And in the original lease, they keep stressing that they're not giving the access road to the public, but we are well aware that if they're boxing in public works, then public works is going to have to come through that neighborhood, which is way more dangerous.
Our next resident is Ryan Seneca. Come and state your name and address for the record, please.
Ryan Seneca, 130 Walker Lane. Good evening. I would like to introduce myself to the Northampton community and the Board of Commissioners. As the recently elected fire chief of the Straw Pump Volunteer Fire Department located here in Northampton Township. Standing behind me, you'll see several of our dedicated members. I'm bringing over 20 years of fire service experience to this role, as well as a bachelor's degree in public administration, which focuses on nonprofit organization management, along with several professional licenses and certifications related to the fire service, and a new fresh look at fire service leadership with an extensive leadership background. In July 2024, we were notified by mail that our ISO audit had returned with a rating of 10, which is the worst rating a department can receive. This caught us by surprise, as we've always been rated 5, and we didn't change anything to our knowledge, and so we saw no reason why this was been the case. I reached out to the ISO, as our chief at the time was in the process of retiring and moving out of the area, and I was informed that the two people in our department that conducted the audit did not turn in training documentation. I informed the ISO that I have that documentation, that we could turn it in, and did so shortly thereafter. They said that they had a retroactive period that we could have submitted that, and it was sent in by email with the original copy of their audit, something that nothing or nobody in our department has seen to this day. I've reached out to the folks at Verisk who conducted the audit multiple times. I've requested this multiple times. They have not provided me with a name or an email address that they have sent this information to. I requested it again this morning, and I have not heard back from them. They have not been answering my messages. So after following up weekly, we made the difficult decision after attending one fire chief's meeting to relinquish our service area between two of the local departments while we got this squared away. And that went to, half of it went to the Hometown Volunteer Fire Department, the other half went to the Westmoreland City Volunteer Fire Department. This was presented to Township management by the Township Fire Chiefs who accepted the proposal, and then 6 weeks after this took effect, it was changed to calls for our department to have our charter removed and our organization disbanded. We are one of 7 North Huntington Township Fire Departments, and we are one of the busiest areas of North Huntington in relation to emergency response. Our department sits at a critical site only 700 feet from Route 30, on the east end of town, which provides great access to many areas of the township. It is common that our department is the closest in relation to where an active emergency is occurring. In fact, in 2024, we are the closest responding department for 190 emergency incidents. Over my years in the department, we have undoubtedly saved lives and properties through our location, and with our emergency responses within the community. Closing our department will have a negative impact on the areas that we serve. That is not to say that we are without challenges. Volunteerism in the United States is down from 370,000 volunteer firefighters in the 1970s, decreased to 60,000 in 2000, and recently down to 38,000 in 2023. Many fire departments in western Pennsylvania are feeling the effects of decreased volunteer turnout. You can listen to a scanner app on any given day and hear fire departments throughout our county struggling with manpower and failing to respond to calls. As fire chief, it is my responsibility to ensure adequate emergency response, something I am committed to. With all of that said, I am happy to report that at least in the initial weeks of 2025, our volunteer response may look promising. With a solid core of both younger and more tenured members stepping up to serve our community, including 6 personnel on a weekday daylight response just last week. Again, listen to a scanner app during daytime hours on any given weekday, and you will find this being rare. Thus far in February, we have responded to every call that we have been dispatched to. I am committed to utilizing my fire service experience, my knowledge in education and nonprofit management, my professional experience as a leader at a high-functioning organization, and my personal drive to serve our community in which I have been a lifelong resident of, to lead this department into the future. I am committed to leading this department with transparency, community engagement and involvement, and in coordination with the leadership of North Huntington Township and our local emergency services partner, to best serve our residents. Years ago, there was a fire service feasibility study conducted in North Huntington by the Pennsylvania Economy League, who recommended 3 stations, one on Route 30 East, which would be our station, one on Route 30 West, and one central on Route 30. And not long ago in one of these meetings, it was stated that repeating that study was not necessary. In my professional opinion, and in agreement with the Pennsylvania Economy League, and having served this township for over 20 years in both fire service and emergency medical services role, and as a lifelong resident of this community living only 650 feet from the Straw Pump Volunteer Fire Department, removing the charter and closing the Straw Pump VFD is the wrong answer for the community.
Great. Our next resident is Alan Silverio. Alan, come and state your name and address for the record, please.
just want to say I've heard that this is not being streamed. I don't know if there's technical difficulties, but someone in the crowd told me that. But my name's Alan Silverio. I'm from 149 Skellytown Road. I just want to start off by saying I'm a big supporter of the Friends of Norwin Trails. I'm not involved, but I've just seen some of their work. And I know there's a potential goal with the township to connect all their parks with trails. If this is feasible and grant money is available to totally fund this, I think this would be a great opportunity. I also believe that the public works land could also have some potential for some trails. My property neighbors public works property, and it's really a beautifully wooded area. It has a lot of acreage too, so there's a lot of opportunity to consider that maybe. And then in regards to the sports complex, I'm just curious about an update on the lease that's supposedly being drafted at the moment. A few weeks ago, the solicitor stated that their firm really doesn't have like a real estate expertise in regards to that portion of the law. I was wondering, was one consulted when working on this current draft? And also, I want to touch back to the first lease, which in my understanding, I believe that was like private, not released to the public. It seemed like we went about 6 months after it was created with not really hearing anything if a real estate attorney or some sort of consultant reviewed this on later drafts of the lease. I remember a private citizen and private Commissioner Gray spent their own time and efforts to consult real estate attorneys to review the draft lease. In my opinion, how can you build the confidence of township residents regarding a project of this magnitude if the township doesn't take the effort to kind of, at least to my understanding, consult a real estate attorney, which in turn could have advised the board on how to develop, or the township to develop a draft, to develop a lease, which we've kind of learned that this is probably the correct way, and it's really kind of unprecedented that private investors develop one first. That's all I have. Thank you. That's all I have. Thank you. That's all I have. Thank you.
Our next resident is Nicholas Carosa. Ask you to come and state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Nicholas Carosa. I reside in North Huntington. So I'll try to stay on point here. I have a couple things I'd like to go over. First and foremost, I think I'd like to start with Rich Gray. I would guess you're probably about twice my age. I'm 35. You look like you're pushing close to 70. For you to tell somebody my age that we should not look at the past and we should let go of the past and that we should accept that the world has changed and society has changed and we should essentially just keep moving forward, take it as it comes, is disgraceful. And you should be ashamed of yourself for telling me something like that. You don't want to look at 2016 because you're not the man you were in 2016 when you led the charge against corruption in the good old boy network. And you were standing right next to him doing it. And you're on the record as a citizen coming forward and talking about, them not following procedures and protocols and what's the point of having them if we're not going to follow them. And that's the same stuff I've been up here for months complaining about, and you ain't said jack shit. You gave me a can of food. You liked the post online after I called you out. You are a snake, Mr. Fall. Snake. I'm going to get to the bottom of your hit and run incident you got in 2021 as an active commissioner that then got dropped to a summary. Why you're only giving me the front page of that when it's a closed case from 2021? The Office of Open Records in Harrisburg is a little intrigued as to that decision, Harry. You guys, 2016, let's be clear, that was a third-party allegation made by Officer Youngstead as he was being railroaded. That you decided needed a third-party investigation using Ideal Investigations because of the corruption not only in North Huntington Township, Mr. Gray, but the direct ties to the district attorney's office that you knew were had between Harold and Pat. the same bullshit that this tyrant brings to the table. You're a crook. Remember when you reached over a couple months ago to me, Mr. Zona, and said, "Bring it"? I'm bringing it, buddy. Your father at the time in 2016, they didn't know exactly what they were doing, right? Uncharted waters. So he did what he was supposed to do, and he walked them through the process. When Commissioner Gass said he wanted an investigation, you knew damn well there was a procedure that needed to take place, and you knew what that procedure was. Is he needed to make a motion, it needed to be seconded, and then it needed to be voted on the record. But you allowed Mr. Gass to stand up for the first responders who had a firearm brandished at them as they were trying to do their job, and then none of you said anything. And then you knew better, I know for sure. You knew better, I know for sure. You know better, you're a lawyer, and I know you know better. You failed us miserably. And then for you, Mr. Spineless Atwood, to not even have the decency as our president commissioner to tell us that we have concluded our investigation and the allegations are unfounded. You had the lawyer talk to us. We're your people, not her people. Why are you sending her to tell us this stuff? As far as building anything, you guys shouldn't be building anything else until you have the infrastructure to handle the traffic you already have, which clearly you don't. In 2016, that Clay Pike Brokers Lane came up in the meeting. Clay Pike Brokers Lane was discussed again due to a frequent accidents and speeding. That was in 2016. It had already become such a problem from previous years that it was something being discussed. In 2018, you had a safety audit done. They looked at that Clay Pike Brokers Lane intersection and they gave it responsibility to both North Huntington Township and Westmoreland to either make it a no left-hand turn or an all-way stop. You did nothing. Then in 2024, my family almost died. And I came to you guys, I begged and pleaded cordially, respectfully, please work with me, I'll work with you. And you treated me like some second-class citizen, like we're in some foreign fucking country. And then you want to act like I'm out of line the way I keep coming and addressing you. Well, I will be here every meeting until we get to transparency, accountability, and justice. And I want to know from you about that child molesting constable PA who tried to have that 15-year-old girl screw him in the ass with help from his wife that your boss, Nicole Ziccarelli, knows about, but is refusing to file criminal complaints. Mr. Zona, like you wouldn't believe. Look, I finished on time.
Our next resident is Mary Zugai. I ask you to come and state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Mary Zugai. I'm a sixth grader, and I'm doing this for a school project. Do you think it's fair for your sports team to have less practice time because there are not enough fields to use? I don't think so. An indoor-outdoor sports facility in North Huntington would solve this problem by providing a safe space for athletes to train. It will also benefit Norwin by stimulating our economy and bringing a sense of community to North Huntington. The Norwin School District and the Township do not have adequate facilities to train Norwin athletes safely given our size. For example, currently the football team alone does not fit in the weight room, let alone a second team training at the same time. So Norwin's high school assistant coach, Coach Zugai. This shows that an indoor-outdoor facility would be beneficial to North Huntington. Various organizations have been asking for a multi-purpose field because our parks cannot safely accommodate athletes. At the North Huntington Township Board of Commissioners work session Thursday, November 14th, 2024, 7 p.m. Mr. Stan Gorski, president of the Norwin Youth Football and Cheer, said he knows firsthand how difficult it is to secure practice and playing fields for the football and cheerleading teams. In addition to the rentals, he feels residents of the community are so out of touch that a sports complex with no cost to the community and tax revenue would be opposed to it because of noise and lights. In addition to Mr. Rob Bonovich, president of the Norwin Soccer Club, at the same meeting shared his support, as the Norwin Soccer Club has no indoor facilities. This multi-sports complex could provide year-round training for Norwin soccer athletes. Critics may say sports teams should only practice in season. However, according to TeamSpeed.com, year-round training helps condition the body to handle these demands by focusing on strength, flexibility, and mobility. By training year-round, your child's body becomes more resilient to the wear and tear of the season, reducing the risk of injury. Norwin needs a complex like this to provide a safe space for athletes to train year-round. A new complex will stimulate North Huntington's local economy. This could bring more jobs to North Huntington, from event management to hospitality and retail positions, supporting events in the facilities that host them, bring full-time, part-time, and part-time jobs that generate income for residents and support local economies. According to sportsplanandguide.com, jobs are needed in our community. This will help our township succeed and grow. Sports tourism is a growing sector of the travel industry that involves participating in or watching sports. CNBC.com says in an interview with Lisa Narati, professor and director at George Washington University Sports Management Program, sports tourists spend money by staying in hotel rooms, eating at restaurants, filling up gas tanks, shopping in local stores, and visiting other tourist attractions. The more money spent in the community benefits the township economic growth. People may think that a sports complex will only benefit the youth athletes that use it. However, according to Forbes.com, driving tourism and visitors can have a significant impact on the economic vitality of communities. The communities with the assets and facilities that are proactively attracting those events and participating, made up of families in their community, tend to be more vibrant, spur economic growth, and drive higher tax base in the community. A good economy is important because it can lead to higher incomes, better standards of living, and more jobs. A strong economy can also help communities by providing public services and attracting business. A multi-use facility such as the one proposed by developers Josh Zugai and Dave Ponsonby will help bring a sense of community that this township desperately needs. The North Huntington Township's comprehensive plan of 2012 and 2023 says the township has a shortage of communal spaces and occasions for the residents to unite. This means our township lacks the space for community events, which may cause people to feel unwelcome. The sports complex will bring residents of North Huntington to that space, such as, according to the proposed sports complex map, this sports complex will include indoor sports such as baseball, basketball, tennis, pickleball, and outdoor sports such as soccer, football, and baseball. In addition to other multi-use fields, it may include a splash park, walking trail, and parks. The inclusion of such extra amenities has the potential to attract visitors of all ages. This meets the demand for more recreational space, which the township identified as a need in surveys conducted in 2012 and 2023, according to North Huntington Township Comprehensive Plan. Older residents in opposition to the complex may believe this will not benefit the majority of the population. However, only 34% of the population is over 65 years old, meaning the majority of North Huntington residents will in fact benefit from a multi-use complex. Furthermore, when residents were surveyed, over 55% of communities input today has been to address the recreational needs of all ages, according to the North Huntington Township website. If we can all agree that a North Huntington sports complex will provide a safer space for athletes to train, stimulate the local economy, and bring residents of our township closer together, then say yes to a new complex. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next resident is Craig Coconella. Also come and state your name and address for the record, please. Okay, thank you very much. All right, moving on to response to citizens' input. As far as the lease goes, we have been discussing, and that is moving forward this time. Whenever we get to a point where the board has reached a consensus, we'll bring it forward. At this time, that has not happened.
On the lease, what do you mean by bring it forward?
We have to vote on it.
I was told in executive session, we don't. It's gonna be sent to the developer without a vote.
Enter into a lease without a vote.
That isn't what was said. Again, it was my motion that I made. My motion was, we work on a lease that the majority of the board will agree with. Once the majority of the board agrees on it, then it is sent to that company, that developer.
But there's no.
Will it be public before that?
I think that you guys need to decide whether you want to disseminate it beforehand to the public, but also send it at the same time, or if you want to send it to the developer. That was not part of the motion, but it's silent on that, so I think you guys need to decide whether you want it to be given out to the public first before you send it to the developer or not.
I believe that it should be made public before it's sent to the developer.
Realistically, though, we're not at a point where that close.
Agreed, we're not, we may be close, because I see people agreeing, so, agreeing.
Straw pump fire hall. Thank you, Ryan, for coming out. Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate that. I know. Appreciate that. I know. The meeting tomorrow, I believe, with their leadership. Is that still on? We plan on talking about that. Does any board member have anything for this regarding straw pump at this point?
I just wish Ryan and the members the best of the luck.
I think it's safe to say that we all support straw pump. We would like to see it back open and return to its former glory. And I know I plan on doing what I need to do to help you guys. And I'm sure we all would echo that sentiment if asked.
And I'd like to add too, thank you all for coming to show support. That's great that you guys came out. Ryan, thank you for speaking so proudly and so passionately about this. Thank you for volunteering, and I hope this works out. And I even give you guys credit for even needing to come up with a solution, to have the other departments fill in while you try to work this out. So you guys are doing everything you need to do. I hope it works out for you too. I hope good luck. Good luck.
Anybody else have anything for straw pump? I believe that was all the topics that were brought up. Work session discussion topics. Manager Falk.
Sure, item number one, North Huntington EMS Rescue next door, of course, we own the building. They're planning to do some upgrades in both the lighting and the generator. They're going to apply for a grant through the Scott Foundation, established by Scott Electric. Basically no cost to the municipality, so they're gonna upgrade the building, no cost to the taxpayers. We just wanted to bring that to your attention. All right, item number two is the traffic signal maintenance agreement. PennDOT did a recent audit and found that we did not have the updated traffic maintenance agreement with them. So we have an agreement and a resolution at next week's meeting. Basically, all the traffic signals, flashing yellows, things like that on Route 30 and all the state roads, we own and maintain those. However, we have to go through them for permits and buy them for permits, but they have to permit them. So it's just updating the agreement. So it's just, are there any questions? All right, item number three is military banners. Last year, this was brought up by Commissioner Zoni to do some military banners in our community. It was discovered that the Rotary does do some on Norman Avenue, but we were looking at some alternatives, alternative to Miss Kincaid.
Thank you. After the discussion last August, it was decided by you all to develop a program that would work in conjunction with the Rotary's current program. After speaking with members of the Rotary, I did gather some more information on their program. Their program is only for active duty members of the U.S. Armed Forces. So it is free for the active duty members. So we're excluding a chunk of our U.S. Armed Forces members by not offering a banner program for honorably discharged or retired members of the U.S. Armed Forces. So this proposal would go along with the current program that the Norman Rotary provides. So who would this serve? So it would serve current residents or immediate families of current residents of North Huntington Township that are retired or honorably discharged from the U.S. Armed Forces. Why is this needed? Like I just said, the Norman Rotary does offer a banner program, but it is only for active duty personnel right now. So we don't have anything for our veterans. How much would it cost? So the proposal that I put together would be a $50 cost to each participant. And then as I get into in the next slide what the banners will look like, we're just basically looking to cover costs of printing and buying materials to mount the banners. So banner printing and brackets for mounting would be around $225. The printing of the banners after talking with Carl Signs would be around $125, and the brackets, which you need 2 brackets for each banner, would be around $100. So what would the timeline be? We could fine-tune this, but my suggestion would be a year display. So you would have each veteran or veteran's family members renew every year. And I'm suggesting November to November, so we can kick off the banner program every year with some type of special event around Veterans Day. So it would showcase our North Huntington veterans, and then we would immediately display the banners with their information. So what would the banners look like? So I put together this banner. We would have a banner showcasing each branch of the U.S. military. So for instance, this is the Marine Corps one. It will have the emblem of that branch on the top. It says North Huntington Township, and this one says USMC Heroes. We can say USMC Veterans if we want to get more specific. We would have one for the Army, Coast Guard, National Guard, which one am I missing? Space Force. We can have all of them. So this one fits 6 veterans on it. We could do less if we want to. We could do 5. We could do 4. But it is a cumulative banner with multiple names. That way we don't have to hunt down pictures. Make sure people submit pictures. Say somebody wants to honor their veteran, but they don't have a picture of them. This is a way that they could still do so. It also keeps the cost down. Local programs that do charge. I know I think Greensburg has a program for their hometown heroes. They do active duty veterans and first responders, but they charge $125 a banner. So we could always go that route where we have individual banners for our veterans, but this was just an idea where we could have multiple people on the banner to keep the cost down per participant. We would also have the North Huntington logo on there on the bottom, and then it would each veteran's information. It would have their rank, first, last name, and then their dates of service in the military. Each banner would be roughly 4 feet high and 2 feet wide. And as Commissioner Zona mentioned back in August, we could mount multiple banners per pole. So we can look to do 1 per pole we mount on, or we could probably do up to 4 per pole. So why is this under Parks and Rec? Why am I talking to you guys about this today? So the idea was to display these banners within the North Huntington Township parks. We don't have a city center or township center. We don't really have a specific road that runs through the whole township, unlike most communities that do this type of program. So we were looking for an alternative to that, and showcasing them in the parks was an idea. So that's how it was brought to me. And then we are in the process now of revamping our website so we can use our new rec management software that should be live within the next few weeks to handle these registrations. People can submit their information, everything that we need for the program. They can pay online for the program. program. We can do it all within our rec management software. And now that the parks crew, our union members are under the Public Works umbrella, Public Works already works with the Norwin Rotary to install some of their banners, so they're familiar with the installation process. So our parks crew can work with our Public Works crew, mount them in our parks. So that's all I have for that. So that's all I have. I'll hand it back. So that's all I have. I'll hand it back.
How many locations would we have? You said one or two or more per location. How many actual locations are there?
So I would recommend putting them in our bigger parks. I know Indian Lake has multiple poles that we can install them on in Oak Hollow. If we want to keep them exclusively in the parks, we can look to mount more than one banner on each pole. But I know Indian Lake, I believe, has 4 or 5 poles within its boundary that we can mount these to. So if the program is a very big success and we have all of these banners, we can also branch out into the streets adjacent to the parks if needed. But we could potentially go into any of our parks that have a pole to mount on.
So you said 4 or 5 poles for the one park. We don't know how many total.
No, that is something that I asked the guys, our parks crew members, to whenever they're out, whenever they have spare time, when they're not maintaining something, to just take a note of how many we have, so we can get more specific. I have a feeling as we start this program, we won't have a ton of banners off the bat, so we could slowly add them and figure out different spaces, but start within the parks, and then if needed, we can expand in different ways. And of course, you guys can decide if we expand where we expand to, but I think showcasing them in the parks is a great alternative because we don't have that township center.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I would like to just thank you too, because that was my idea back in August. It was pretty much the same thing. And I think there was only one other commissioner up here that agreed with me that was for it. So I would hope that this would go through. I think Indian Lake, I counted at the time, and I think there might have been 5 poles, and that's why I said you could put some on the inside and on the outside. But I appreciate it, and I think it is a good way. It's no cost to us. You said the cost is going to be, the cost to the individual is going to be what it costs to order the banner, the brackets, and install it. I think it's something we can give back, and I know it was brought up when I approached this the first time that they do it in Irwin, but I thought maybe we could recognize North Huntington numbers in North Huntington, something we can do.
Right, and I did ask the Rotary about this and asked them, would you feel we were stepping on your toes by doing this? I talked to their president. She said no. She didn't foresee any issues, but they did have a board meeting at the end of the month that she will bring it up and let me know if there's anything, any concerns. But like I said, they only do active duty personnel right now. So if we open it up to veterans only, we wouldn't be infringing on what their current program offers.
And I agree, and I actually spoke to a friend of mine who had his picture on a banner in Irwin, and when he retired, they took his banner down. So this would be a way we could recognize those individuals. So thank you.
Any other questions?
No, I would just like to make a comment. Coordinator Kincaid, yes, I agree with Commissioner Zone. I think it's a great idea, and I live real close to Ocala Park, so it would be nice to see it, and we do walk around Indian Lake, and I think it's, I would support it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
All right, next on the agenda is the proclamation. You have a draft proclamation for next week. Are there any questions for next week? Okay, so now moving on to comp plan update. So as you recall, the last time the comprehensive plan was updated was in 2000. The township received a $25,000 grant to update the plan a few years ago. The steering committee started the process on October 10th of 2022, and the Board of Commissioners adopted that comprehensive plan on August 16th of 2023. So some of the things that identified that room for improvement is the lack of township programs and events, traffic congestion, road safety and infrastructure, public open space programming is limited, and repetitive and unsustained land use patterns. So tonight, we're just going to update you on the two things, mainly on the recreation side and programming side. So the comprehensive plan identified is we're fortunate to have a generous amount of public space for passive and active recreation. Unfortunately, the programming or types of activities available for residents to enjoy is limited. The public feedback consistently demonstrated the need for recreation opportunities that serve a broader audience. Also, many residents seek recreational facilities in neighboring municipalities due to the absence of suitable parks or those catering to a particular age group. Therefore, it's crucial to assess how the current parks within the township can be enhanced to better serve the community, and a consistent commitment throughout the comprehensive planning process touches on a desire for more community connectedness. Residents feel detached from their community and want to have events or opportunities that bring them together. So what have we done since the comprehensive plan came out? We've completed an 18-hole disc golf course. We're currently constructing 2 pickleball courts. We're investing $270,000 for parks improvements in the 2025 budget to include playground, trash cans, and water fountain upgrades. We restructured the Parks and Recreation Department and created a coordinator position to focus solely on expanding recreational opportunities while updating the park system. We are working with Friends of Norwin Trails to develop new trails at Braddock's Trail Park and connecting neighborhoods to our parks and future projects. We've increased the programming budget from $75,000 to $100,000. We've also introduced new contests, special events such as Halloween decorating contest, Deck the House contest, gingerbread house contest, and a Halloween scavenger hunt. We grew our number of in-person special events from 10 in 23 to 9 in 2024 to 15 this year. We're working with the Norwin Library to bring story time into our parks for the summer of 2025, and partnered with businesses such as Mad Science, Jumpstart Sports, Roar and Soccer, and Fun for All to increase recreational programming. We've also introduced a year-round recreation program such as the NHT Parks Geo-Coaching, and we plan to begin staff-led recreation programming such as backyard games. So as you can see, also that comprehensive plan helped us acquire a $100,000 grant towards that construction of pickleball courts, which the total project cost about $138,000. $100,000 of that was grant funded. So the comprehensive plan is a great tool in our toolbox for staff to basically update the township or to take what the input from the citizens and we're applying it. So is there any questions about the current recreation component of the comprehensive plan? And then next month I'll focus on another part. But as you can see, we're increasing our recreational opportunities. Everything that we can. Moving on to Friends of Norwin Trails grant. Friends of Norwin Trails, you guys are here if you'd like to speak, but they approached me the other day. Now's the time for DCNR grant funding. They want to apply. They would like for us to help apply for grant funding for them for 2 grants for the DCNR grant, which is the Braddock's Trail Park Tools and a trolley line and a feasibility study. The trail study is about $2,275 and that requires a 20% match, which is about $455. The Friends of Norwin Trails will provide that match. We just have to apply to the DCNR grant on their behalf. And then the tools the tool. I'm sorry, that was the tool. I'm sorry, that was the equipment purchase. They would like to buy equipment purchases in the amount of $2,275 to help maintain Braddock's trail. I do have some concerns about that because we do have Parks and Recreation Department labor staff that do maintain that. So it's hard to recommend the board, for us to apply for that grant on their behalf because we're taking jobs away from union, employees. But however, the trail planning and the amount of $20,000 requires a 50% match, which is $10,000, which that match would be funded by the Friends of Norwin Trails, is to connect basically some property from Hilltop Park, an old trolley line, down into Irwin. So it would connect our neighborhoods up around Hilltop Park down to Irwin. They're requesting the township to apply for a grant on their behalf. Are there any questions about that grant? Seeing none, if we move forward with the grant, then we'll need a resolution from the Board of Commissioners at a later date. And the deadline to apply for those grants, April 1st. And we're going to apply for some grants as well for DCNR, but they're going to be non-competing grants. All right, moving on to the 2025 capital improvement plan. So we have our salt shed down there. The tarp needs replaced. As you can see from the picture, it has ripped beyond the point of repair. This has been going on for a few years. To replace this, we received some quotes, and the cheapest price that we received was $29,000, and it is a Sourcewell contracting, which they do have. It's kind of like CoStar's. So we don't have to put it out for bid. It is accepted by the state of Pennsylvania. I think the next highest price was, I believe, $53,000. Such a just jump. But it's a tarp. But it's replaced. You can see it protects all of our salt, a couple $100,000 worth of salt every year. If this goes, our salt's going to be so we do have to maintain this. This will come out of the capital reserve budget. Next is Indian Lake. We have several issues with Indian Lake. We do have to dredge the lake. We have the covered bridge. The beam, there's 3 beams, and one of them does need to be replaced. Currently, there's a weight restriction on there, no vehicles, just pedestrian traffic. The Kenda Dam, which is underneath the bridge, is leaking. We do have sensors in there that's monitoring the outflows per the DEP, and a stream bank stabilization project on the other side of that dam. I know I mentioned last year at budget time, the LSA statewide grant, which is the big one, $1 million, about applying for Haywood Road. For that, we feel since Indian Lake is very popular lake, well known through the community, we do need to maintain it. So we're going to apply some grants through DCNR and that LSA later on at the end of this year. There's 2 LSA grants. So we're going to apply heavy applications for grants to help repair Indian Lake. Are there any questions about Indian Lake? All right, next is the water fountain upgrades to our parks. I'll turn this over to Lydia, but our water fountains were removed in the spring of last year and were not replaced.
Thanks, Harry. Harry already mentioned my lead into this. So they were removed. They were not placed, which leaves exposed hookups in our parks where the water fountains were. A specific example of one of those would be near the Little Free Library at Oak Hollow. It's just a concrete pad with exposed hookups and a cone over it right now. We would like to purchase water fountains to replace the ones that were removed and then upgrade a couple others. So at Oak Hollow would be a total of 5 water fountains. 3 water fountains would be the water fountain you see on the right of the slide. So it kind of looks like a tree. It has a little doggy station at the bottom for dogs to use. It has the two levels of regular water fountains, so they're ADA compliant, and then on the top it has the water bottle filler, so people who are walking around or working out easily refill their water bottle. And then so 3 of those would look like that, and 2 of them would be the water fountain on the left. So it just has the water bottle filler and the regular water fountain. It does not have the doggy station, because those ones would be placed in the areas next to the athletic fields, and we don't want dogs in those areas. So 5 at Oak Hollow, and then 2 water fountains at Indian Lake. Both would look like the one with the bottle filler, the 2 levels, and then the doggy station at the bottom. So it would replace one existing water fountain, and after talking with our parks crew, they feel they can add one. So we were looking to add another water fountain next to the Seneca Pavilion. So the current one is on the other side of the lake. So that's the existing area. So place that one and then add one by that one and then add one by that one.
And we received 3 quotes between 18,000 to 52,000, with the cheaper price of 18,000 for the same product. Co-Star. Any other questions about the water? Any other questions about the water? Any other questions about the? Next is the trash cans.
So our current trash cans in the parks are large metal barrels. We're having issues with paint chipping off of them rusting out. They're open top, so they fill up with water, rainwater frequently, making it difficult for our parks crew to empty them sometimes. So we want to slowly upgrade the trash cans in all of the parks, but we're going to start with our 2 most popular parks, Oak Hollow and Indian Lake. So we're looking to purchase 2 different types of trash cans. So we have the larger of the 2 on the bottom left of the slide. It is a 55-gallon trash can. It has a top that pops off. So if we're looking to put these in the pavilions with the rain bonnet, which is the attachment to the right of it, on top to help keep the rainwater out of the larger trash cans. These 55-gallon trash cans would be put into more higher traffic areas, and then the pavilions, so that they can hold more. We have people renting pavilions. They're throwing away their garbage from their catering or what have you from their parties. So we need a bigger capacity trash can in those areas. And like I said, the top pops off easily. So people, if they're renting the pavilions, they have a big garbage bag and instead of trying to fit it in that little hole, they can pop the top off and throw it in. But it also keeps the rainwater out. The other size we're looking to get are 32 gallons with the dome lids. So the dome lid automatically keeps the water out, rainwater out of the trash cans, and they are smaller, so we are looking to put those throughout the park. In the fields at Oak Hollow, they will have the in-ground mount, so it makes it a little bit easier for staff to mow around them and weed whack around them, because they won't be directly on the ground. They will be mounted a little bit higher out of the ground. So we would sprinkle those around the parks, whereas this smaller version, and then the bigger version in the pavilions. So these are the breakdown numbers of how many of each we're looking to get in both Oak Hollow and Indian Lake.
And this comes at a cost of $56,000 for these to be paid out of the park. Any questions?
I just want to add one thing. The outside is recycled material, so it is weather resistant. It's not going to rust out. It's like a recycled plastic material that mimics the look of wood. So we wouldn't have the issue of the current issue we have of the trash cans rusting.
Moving on to playground upgrades.
So Looking through our parks, we do have a lot of nice newer playgrounds, but there are some components in those playgrounds that haven't been updated in a little while, or quite a while. Starting with Lions Park, we have a 10 spin or one of those spinning playground components that kids can sit on and spin around, and the base of it is broken, so it is moving in different ways that it's not supposed to, so it's rocking back and forth whenever it's just supposed to spin. So we would like to replace that with an orbiter. So there's two pictures of the orbiter at the top of this slide, one with a person standing next to it. But basically what it is, it's a platform that spins. Kids can climb inside of it and sit on the platform and spin, or they can hang on the rope netting. I know South Greensburg Playground has one of these, and my son, he's 2, he can go on this. I've seen kids, older kids, 12 years old, can go on this. So it's inclusive to all ages, and then it's also inclusive to children with handicap. So they can climb in it, sit in it, all of it's inclusive to everybody. So we're looking to replace that spinner with the orbiter. The swing set there is older. It does need replaced. So remove the current swing set and install a new swing set. So it would look like this one on the slide. It would have a total of five spots for swings. We would look to take 2 of the regular swings off of this one and put adaptive swings on. Those are basically the seats. If you have been to most playgrounds these days have them. They're just seats that you can clip your child in. So it opens it up to be an inclusive way for everybody to be able to swing. So we would replace 2 regular swings with the 2 adaptive swings, and then keep the bucket swing for the infants. And then we would patch the poured-in-place safety surface because the current swing set there, it has different ground mounting than this one. So we would have to replace any of the open holes that removing the old ones would create. Penns Woods, similar situation. The swing set there needs replacement, is older. So we're looking to remove the old swing set and put in this swing set here. So this is an example of the adaptive swing I was just talking about. So we would put this one in, and we would keep one of the adaptive swings there, and then put in a regular swing. And then, of course, patch the poured-in-place safety surface that's on that place. And Lincoln Acres, same thing. Replace the swing set, have this new swing set put in, keep an adaptive swing, keep a regular swing. Jacktown Acres Park. It is a newer playground. It's great. The swings on the swing set are rusting out, so we would look to replace those swings on that swing set. We would add in an adaptive swing, and then add in this Sini generational swing. These are newer swings. I see them popping up in different parks. I know that there's one at Twin Lakes. There's one at Hempville Park. It is a way for parents to swing with their toddlers and infants at the same time. So it's really fun. So you can have that experience playing on the playground with your children. So we would keep regular swings. We would add this one of the adaptive swing seats, and then add this generational swing. And then throughout the other parks, we would take inventory of the condition of the swings and add in infant bucket seats where needed.
And for those parks, upgrades would be at $36,705. Are there any questions for Ms. Kincaid? Thank you, Lydia. Thank you. Next up is a vehicle for public works. We're going to be looking to purchase a Dodge 5500. The chassis itself is gonna be $7,300. We would finance that. And then the to outfit the vehicle with the dump and the plow and the spreader and the hydraulics is additional $57,000. And we would just pay that in full. Are there any questions for the Public Works vehicle? Moving on to the police. Historically, we have bought 3 vehicles every year for the police department. The price did go up significantly, so this year we're only going to purchase 2 vehicles for the police department, so it'll come up, be under budget significantly. It's going to be a Ford pickup truck. A regular SUV that we typically have in our fleets. The total cost for those is going to be $94,000. Are there any questions? About the police vehicles? Okay, next up is the Bearcom for the grant. The milling and surfacing. We received our bids a few weeks ago. They came in, so they're ready to be approved next week. We're going to be able, the bids came in better than expected, so we're going to be able to pave all the roads and all the additional roads that are on there and come within budget, barring any change orders. Are there any questions about the milling and resurfacing program? Okay, moving on is the police tech grant upgrade. If you recall, we received a $1.2 million grant back in 2023. We're nearing the end of it. This is one of the final items, is the $60,000 to upgrade our tower and antenna. Again, we will get reimbursed for the $60,000 equipment. Are there any questions? Concerning this?
What tower, the one?
Our tower that we
Right
have
here?
Our tower.
Right here, so it's gonna be replaced altogether?
Not 100% sure. It's going to upgrade a lot of the components. I think structurally it is fine.
It says tower and installation, so I'm taking that to mean a whole structure?
I'm not 100% sure, Chief. Is not 100% member of the police department's not here, but it is upgrade our tower. Are there any questions for that? That is all I have.
Thank you, Manager Falk. Moving on to planning and engineering topics, Director Andrkovich.
Okay, we have 3 items tonight from the Planning Commission. First one is S01-2025, the Harbor Subdivision off of Bickerstaff Road. This is a proposed subdivision located off Bickerstaff Road, Casey and Cheryl Harper Road, 2640 Bickerstaff Road, on 18.534 acres, which you can see highlighted in the blue. They would like to subdivide off 4.7 acres for the purpose of a single-family home. Both lots would meet the minimum dimensional requirements for R3 zoning district. At the February 3rd meeting, the Planning Commission recommended this plan for approval by a vote of 6-0 with the condition of sewage planning approval from the PADEP. So this will be the proposed lot after the subdivision, after the 4.6 acres on the bottom, which is accessed off of the 50-foot right-of-way on the bottom left of the screen there. Any questions with this? Subdivision? Okay, moving on to Subdivision 2 of 2025, Sunset Valley 1, Revision 3. This is a major subdivision on Sunset Avenue and the Sunset Valley Plan Phase 1. Pasquarelli Property Management is the owner of the property and plans to develop the site with single-family homes. These are lots on record from previously recorded Sunset Valley Phase 1 in 1958 with the addition of 6 new lots on the cul-de-sac Walter Avenue. The applicant is seeking preliminary approval at this time. Because this is a preliminary approval, many detailed reports and drawings are still outstanding. These will need to be provided at the time the applicant seeks final approval. KU Resources did the plan review for the site. The February 3rd meeting, the Planning Commission recommended this plan for preliminary approval by a vote of 6-0, with all conditions being deferred until the application for final approval is submitted by the applicant. I recommend that any waiver or modification request involving engineering be granted during the review for final approval when more information is provided. Also, I'd recommend that the board have an applicant waive their development rights until all conditions have been satisfied and final approval has been given by the board of commissioners. Again, so this was once had preliminary approval once, and there were 3 modifications that were requested for this plan. One being the cul-de-sac length that was already granted with the first preliminary approval. The second was a waiver of documents, which I don't feel is relevant to this now. And the third was the vertical curve coming off of Walter Avenue. It's actually a sag or a dip in the road, which is our engineer felt it was pretty significant to be able to grant a modification to that until they would be able to prove to us that a fire truck or school bus or garbage truck isn't going to bottom out or hang up in that dip. These are just some of the documents that were submitted. Yeah, not a lot of information was given with this plan. That's why also the engineer didn't feel that he had enough information to make his call on that modification for the vertical curve. Is there any questions on this? Plan?
That was passed 6-0. That was passed
Correct,
6-0.
yes.
That was passed
Correct.
6-0.
Yeah, with the conditions being deferred to the final approval, to the modifications also. Okay, moving on to the last one. S03 2025 Tuscan Hills Phase 8 and 9. It's a subdivision of single-family lots located in Tuscan Hills Phase 8 and 9. These will be final 2 phases in Tuscan Hills development. Dondia LLC is still the owner and developer of the site. Phase 8 of this plan will include 19 new homes over 9.824 acres, while Phase 9 will include 38 new lots over 20.729 acres. In these 2 phases, you'll see an extension of Antonio Drive, which ends in a cul-de-sac, and second entrance to the plan that will be coming off of Hometown Wendell Road. The February 3rd meeting, the Planning Commission recommended this plan for preliminary approval by a vote of 5-1, with any outstanding conditions from KU Resources response letter being satisfied before final approval. Here's the site plan for phases 8 and 9, minus the end of Antonio, which is the cul-de-sac, which would be above phase 9 there. You can see on the right the entrance is coming off. That'll be the entrance off of Hometown Wendell Road, coming up to Antonio, and there's another cul-de-sac in phase 8. This was reviewed by KU Resources. There was no modifications asked for, but during their review of the plan, there was 2 modifications that they would need to ask for final approval. One being the cul-de-sac length of Antonio Drive, which is heading north on your screen there up to the end. And also they had a vertical curve that would need multiple vertical curves that would need addressed. for final approval. They didn't state whether they were gonna change their plans yet or ask for the modifications, but again, that can be done for final approval. That is it with that. Is there any questions about Tuscan Hills Phase 8 or 9?
Seeing none.
If there's no questions, that is all I have for tonight.
Thank you, Director Andrukowicz. Thank you, Director Andrukowicz. Moving on, does anybody have anything for old business? Seeing none, any further board comments?
I have a comment. I think most people have seen the recent raid of a vape shop on the eastern end of our township on Route 30, where the owners of that business are accused of selling controlled substances out of that building. Anyone that would walk in there with money to purchase. I've talked to a lot of people. A lot of people have approached me in this township, and they're appalled that is occurring so blatantly in this township, where controlled substances are being sold to children and to everyone else. I would ask the solicitor or anyone else from the township, what is our rights on being able to shut a business like that down? It just comes in and blatantly and willfully violates the law.
So the vape shop is permitted to sell certain items and a controlled substance that they're not allowed to sell. If they are selling it, you can go forward and do a cease and desist and shut them down. I would look through and I would work with staff to look through your ordinances to also identify any other sections that might be relevant to issue a cease and desist and shut them down. But without a doubt, because it's not something that they're permitted to sell, and we know if it's known to be a controlled substance, other than if there was a medical marijuana dispensary or a pharmacy that is allowed to sell controlled substance, those are the entities that you can do that. A vape shop is not, so therefore you could move forward and issue letters to close it down until an investigation's determined whether, whether it was really happening or not.
That was my next question. Do we have to wait until there is a conviction or a guilty plea?
Well,
I think the conviction takes offense when there's a sentence issue. Would we have to wait till that point?
No, so civilly, you're operating under different rules and regulations from criminal division and civil side. So if our inspectors go in and find that there is actual, like, flower marijuana on the countertop, and someone from North Huntington staff sees that, they can report that back, and then that is very clear that they don't have authority to be selling flower marijuana that contains THC. Now, we'd have to probably purchase it and get it tested before you say, because something that looks like flower marijuana could also be oregano, and I don't want you to shut somebody down that is not, if they're really selling jars of oregano and not marijuana, I don't want you to infringe on their rights. But if we can make that determination that in fact there was or there is drugs being sold there, then yes, you can follow through regardless of the criminal aspect.
So if we would wait till a preliminary hearing where evidence is admitted that shows that that was illegal substance,
I still think we would have to, on our own, look to investigate it. If you wait and you get the, if it turns out in someone's sentence or they're determined that there's actually a conviction of selling marijuana, then you can absolutely issue the cease and desist from that, because there's already, beyond a reasonable doubt, there's been a rendering of that substance being sold there that they were not permitted through our zoning ordinance to sell.
So Solicitor Dice, if we look through our ordinances and we have a nuisance ordinance, or a nuisance business, depending on what that says, we can have some teeth to shut it down.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But if not, it would be prudent for the board to draft such.
Correct. And I was just looking through your zoning ordinance. You guys presently do not have the use of medical marijuana dispensary or growing which there have been regulations, I think they came out in 2016 or 18. You should amend I'd recommend allowing that use somewhere within your municipality. You can't not allow it. You have to allow for the use somewhere.
We have a vote by the board that states that we do not allow the selling of any type of marijuana.
So you need to move forward, because if you don't allow a use that is a permitted, type of use that is recognized by the Commonwealth, and medical marijuana dispensaries are, someone can come in with an application and potentially go in any zoning district with that application, because your zoning ordinance doesn't prohibit it. You may have a catch-all language, and I didn't look at it right before. Some zoning ordinance have a catch-all that if you don't identify the use in your use table, then it requires to go under possibly a special exception or a conditional use application with general rules or general conditions that you need. However, I'd have to look at your ordinance to see if you have that catch-all. You do? Do you do it as a special exception? So it would go before the zoning hearing board as a special exception for a medical marijuana dispensary to grow it. In that instance, you can catch it that way, but I do recommend you might want to look to amend your zoning ordinance to give additional, if you want to do it as conditional use or special exceptions, to lay out some regulations of what you want with respect to security, lighting. There's a lot of regulation also by the state, but you might want something more.
Knowing all that, I would ask the township manager to research that with our ordinances, and if the majority of the board agrees to place this on the agenda for next week for further discussion and possible action. Because I think, as I said, I think it's just important that we have a business that is selling right out onto the front of Route 30. They're selling controlled substances.
Anybody else have anything?
I just have one question, maybe more information for the public, for the attorney and solicitor Dice or Manager Falk. Did we get served any litigation for the developer off of Castleville?
Yes, we did. They already appealed. There's a land use appeal, and we're moving forward. We have to do a
Thank you. Manager Falk, could we keep track of how much money we were spending on that litigation, just so the public can know, we can report back?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Any other further board comments?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. All those in a second. Motion by Commissioner Zona, second by Commissioner Haggis. All those in favor by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed? Motion carries. Meeting adjourned at 8:17.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.